Welcome back, you guys. Today we have a crazy build, something that we are just totally doing that's outside the norm, off the beaten path, totally unique, totally new. I'm really excited about this build. Let's quickly talk about what we're doing and kind of the mentality and the thought process behind the work before we actually do it. Now, this is a polymer 80 frame. We have a slide to go along with it, so we happen to have, this is kind of a two-part build here. It's totally unique to anything we've ever done before. Let's discuss it. I want to discuss this with you. So, customer reached out to me a while back, and they said, I happen to have a 19 and a P80 frame. I want to do a battle-worn version of this weapon. I want to actually have it battle worn. Now I said, you know, let me call you. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Let me get some more details on exactly what you're thinking to make sure we're just all on the same page here. So what ended up happening was we had this conversation. We got this alignment in our thoughts to make sure we're definitely on the same page. This individual is after a true battle worn slide. So I'm talking about, you know, I start getting into this, like, are we talking about like multicolor, sanding, fading, blending kind of thing? And he's like, no. We're actually talking about legit, you know, wear on the slide. So I was like, wow, yeah, this is totally cool. This is something that I've really thought hard about doing, just never had the opportunity to do it. Of course, my projects always become limited because of the time. I'm always working on your guys' stuff. So let's quickly talk about exactly what we are going to be doing. So on the back of this slide, we're going to do a Vortex Viper. We're going to remove that existing dovetail. We're going to cut a new dovetail in front of that optic, okay? On the front, we're going to be going with a window, what would be similar to a stress fracture or a crack. The idea of this and the build thought behind this is, like I said, legit battle worn. Stuff like if this firearm had actually gone through a war, multiple wars, possibly over decades of use, wear, tear, that kind of deal. So we're talking about actual, like, you've got a firearm that you don't have replacement parts for, that you are carrying on your hip day by day through scenario and scenario, and this is kind of your wear and tear piece that you have. So we have on the top, we've got a cut that's going to be done up here. We have a bullet hole exit on this side, so we're going to be doing a laser cut bullet hole on this side. We've got some front serrations that we want to do for some cocking serrations. On what would be the left side, we end up having some more cocking serrations. We end up having an exit for the bullet hole, so that's going to be pretty interesting because we're going to have to use the laser for some of this. We're actually going to go through the process and maybe even peel some of that metal off and knock some of that metal out. For the actual simulation side of this. We're not just talking about lasering patterns and or graphics. We're talking about legit wear and tear. On the front, we're actually talking about chipping the corner of the slide up here. Now, of course, the individual that wrote on here, these are examples of what they've given. These are not necessarily exact locations that the work needs to be performed. This happens to be, you know, ideas that they would like to see on this particular slide. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of additional wear. There's going to be obviously some smooth areas, some, you know, stuff that would be legitimately worn down over the course of time. Now, on this side, we end up having beat this side up that looks like it was used as a hammer. So that's kind of a legitimate usage there in the event that maybe you were trying to put a stake in the ground for a tent, or maybe you were, you know, had to work on something that was metal. You didn't have a hammer. Once again, this is the scenario of I don't actually have the right tools for the job, and this was actually the weapon that was on my side while I was doing these processes and procedures, whatever we would happen to be doing. So we're going to end up doing some actual physical wear and tear on the side over here. It's going to be pretty rough, pretty cool. Now on this side, it's pretty cool. This is just the overall image that we're going for on the slide overall, not just in this area, but this is the next level battle worn mud, dirt, rocks, and stuff found at the bottom of the ocean. So these are obviously creative ideas of what we actually can do to the slide. Now, it's funny that was written on here because I didn't know what was going to come in as the slide came in. And I ended up going on vacation to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I live in North Carolina, so it's not too far away. It's a pretty popular destination choice for most people. And while I was there, I ended up collecting a small bag of what would be larger pieces that came from the ocean. Now, I don't know anything about the ocean other than it's wet. And from that being said, you know, I'm guessing this is some kind of coral or something like that. I don't know how durable and rough these will be, but I thought this would be pretty cool to actually use as some of the battle-worn stuff on the slide instead of using what would be like a metal piece. I thought this would be kind of cool to be able to scratch the slide up with this and things like that. Now, obviously, these were just ideas of which the customer of mine came up with, but I thought that was pretty cool nonetheless. I thought maybe we'll see how well they work. This might be more fragile than what's functional here. I'm not sure yet, but either way, I thought that was pretty cool. I collected those while I was on vacation in the thought of this actual build pattern. So, guys, let's now talk about the frame, what we're going to be doing with the frame. Now, this is an 80% frame. I cannot complete this due to the legalities of the, obviously, of the completion of an 80%. So this will end up getting the coloring. This will end up getting that wear and tear, and then this will go back to the customer, and the customer will actually drill those holes out and finish this work off themselves. I want to make sure that was real clear, and of course we'll be able to see that as this video unfolds. We'll be able to see that at the end of the video as we do the demonstration that we're still not able to actually put these two together because we have additional things that need to be cut off in order for them to actually go together or to slide together. So we end up having a base color of FDE, okay? And then we have a bullet hole exit here. We've got some initial, or not some initials, but we've got some Roman numerals counting over here, scratches in there, what may simulate actual kills in the event, or it could be the individual that's carrying this gun may end up keeping record of something. We don't know if those would be kills, but we definitely know that they might be keeping record of, it could be times they were in battle, could be times that they were sent overseas, could be a multiple magnitude of things that they're counting. But we have some Roman numerals on the side, and then of course we have an exited bullet hole on this side. Now that's going to be very, very cool because we're actually going to be able to see a mag while the mag is in the 80% frame. So very, very cool. We're going to have an opportunity to do some laser work on a polymer 80, which we have not really done. I've done several of them, but I haven't really turned that content over to you guys. So we're actually going to be able to see something that is unique to the channel that we haven't done before. We're also going to be able to see some polymer 80 laser work as well that we have not seen on the channel. So definitely going to be cool. And of course, we're going to go over this with color. We'll be doing the multicolor with the sand. We are still going to be going for that Battleworn effect with two colors and sanded through. And then of course, we're actually going to be going with some rough based usage. So as this individual was carrying this weapon, we're going to start seeing areas that were maybe worn more than others, chipped areas, the high wear sides, things like that. So guys, I'm really, really excited about this build. Once again, totally unique to anything we've ever done on this channel. And I'm going to try to take you guys through that the best way I can. It's not going to all just be CNC work. Some of this is going to have to be hand work, hand wear, and some things like that. So we have a lot of opportunity to take you guys through this process that's totally unique and totally new to us and to you guys. So guys, what we're first going to do is we're going to get over to the Tormach 770 because we're going to go ahead and cut that optic, cut that dovetail. That's the first thing that we're going to do, and then we're going to go ahead and move on down the line with the additional work. So let's just see how it unfolds, guys. Guys, let's take a couple minutes here. Let's go through this build. Let's talk about the work that's been performed. There happens to be a lot of details in this build. There is a ton of work that was done that we do not normally perform. We've done things that we do not normally do to yield different and new and unique results. Let's talk about those. Let's give you guys the actual big picture here instead of the small picture of the final product. Let's talk about each and every one of those. We ended up removing the existing dovetail from the back of the slide, and we cut this for a Vortex Viper. Now, this is a huge +1 to the customer because this is the optic that they chose. Guys, I have seen all the optics on the market. Most of them you have seen in my videos. You've seen them in my hands. I've had the opportunity to look them over, to use them, to shoot them, to like them, to not like them. And I'm going to tell you already, bar none, Vortex Optics is giving you more choices and better choices than anybody else, period. You can buy a Trijicon, and that's one item. You can buy a Leopold Delta, and that's a item. Or you can go over and look at Vortex Optics, and they come in multiple flavors to the model that fits your design. Take that into consideration when you're looking for your next optic, okay? You can go with a Venom, you can go with a Viper, you can go with a Razor. There's a lot of different ones that happen to be available for your build that work with these particular style builds, okay? Nothing wrong with Trijicon, nothing wrong with Leopold. However, Vortex Optics is giving you opportunity to make a different choice. There's options on the table, not a option on the table. It's totally different. Let's talk about the dovetail. Glad we moved that dovetail over to the front of the optic. Just one of those deals where I didn't want to see it missing from the slide. Some of you guys don't put them back on there because it's a fun gun. This is obviously a fun gun, guys. But I'm really glad that we ended up adding that back onto there. We'll be able to use a suppressor sight on the back. We'll be able to use a suppressor sight on the front. And at the end of the day, we'll actually be able to co-witness with our Vortex Viper optic in the back. So definitely cool setup there. Let's talk about the sides real quick that were still on the CNC work. We ended up stripping off the Glock and the 19 over here. We ended up matching what would be the rear serrations to the front. And we did that on both sides, giving us definitely some nice grip overall here. Gonna be able to cock that slide from the front motion. Extremely easy. Definitely a nice overall appearance. I'm liking that we added something there. We could have definitely just done some work without adding it there, but I'm glad that there was some kind of detailed work on what would be the background in order for us to kind of work over and lay over. That's one of the reasons we did that first before we actually went through the process on doing the laser work. Now let's get to the laser work. And guys, I'm a little hyped up on this one is maybe the best way to say this. I first started with doing this top laser section here. You guys know me. I went outside, I got you some pictures, so just bear with me here. We're gonna get there. I ended up working this drawing to where it was thicker and wider on this end because we're farther away from where the barrel locks up, and then we're a little bit tighter over here. I wanted to cut a hole through to be able to actually see some barrel. And if you guys look, it looks as though we're pretty close to where the barrel locks up. We flip it over and we're gonna realize that we haven't actually punched any holes that close. We're actually up into this zone here. Okay, so we're a little ways away from where the barrel actually locks up to where it appears where the barrel locks up on the top side. We definitely have kept that rigidity overall. We're not losing any strength overall. So I'm really pleased with that. And then of course, up working our way towards the nose farther, we've cut ourselves a hole where we'll be able to see some nice barrel. We have some nice detail work on the top. And once again, we stayed away from where the actual front of that is, where that locks up to give us that extra strength overall. I'm gonna tell you, I ran this, and it was cool, and it became deeper and deeper and more detailed as it unfolded. And then I got down to the end of it, and I sandblasted, and I brought it back, and it was scary accurate. I mean that. I mean, I have had people come over, pick this up before we even had the slide hole, the hole in the sides and some of the other ones, and this thing looks so legit that you actually think the slide is actually damaged. I'm talking about, that's the level of detail that we performed with the laser on this slide. It is scary. I mean that. The best way I can say that, you're probably gonna see something like this end up on one of the gun show tables, and I'll guarantee you everybody that walks by is gonna be like, what happened to that? Because they're not realizing that this was performed work on a precision-based level for an overall design. Okay, they're gonna think that it was actually struck, actually damaged, and it's actually a problem, which in this particular case, it's not. But guys, I'm telling you, the layer and layers that have been peeled off of this, and the detail that has worked its way forward coming out of this project is absolutely crazy. Now, we happen to have created a hole on the left-hand side. The idea is we struck through, we fractured the top, and of course we'll get to the other side here in a second. When I built this design on the left side, I ended up wanting to go over several of the factory serrations here, stay off the Austria, but yet work around it. I wanted to still keep some of the detail from the factory slide. I want people to actually still be able to identify what it is. And the layer of detail and the attention to detail when this was created, it's really hard to see this inside. We'll take some pictures and we'll show them to you. There's actually line drags in the inside of here as if an actual bullet penetrated the slide, okay? So when I built this, I didn't build a circle with these cracks coming out of it. I actually built jagged-based walls, so as it goes down, you actually can see drag lines, which is pretty legit overall. I mean, like I said, this is actually a really scary base design. If you look at this in your hand, the level and the layers and the attention to detail was absolutely crazy on the thought pattern that I had. Some of these I get way off the beaten path. We step so far off the path, I don't even know how to get back on the path. And that's exactly what we did here. We worked at each one of these one at a time, playing off of each other to give us the optimal end result. And that's exactly what we've done. So we ended up doing a hole all the way through here. You guys can see that here. There you go. You can see some of those lines from there. Right? See that? We'll get some pictures for you guys, but you can kind of see what's going on. It's very serious. I took this project extremely serious. And as it goes to the other side, we have this, what would be a simulated strike from the inside to the outside, much like you'd see with, say, like a concrete wall. As something was to hit the concrete wall, maybe it didn't penetrate all the way through, but you're going to start seeing those fractured base cracks. You're going to start seeing those hairline issues with it. And that's exactly what we've done here. We created those where they go up over the top. They're not all the same. They drag out in different directions. And it's exactly across from the bullet hole. So if you look here, you're going to find that it's directly straight across to this side, and that's exactly what we wanted. Obviously, definitely well thought out. Now, keep in mind, based off the theory of the design, obviously there's some issues here. If there was a barrel inside of this firearm, we wouldn't have had a strike on the other side. This is still a design, okay? Let's keep that in mind as we unfold the rest of this content, but the detail is just crazy. So on the front here, the original design had to chip a corner off. It's hardened steel. And one of the things that I was concerned with was if I was to heat it or if I was to hit it, there's a possibility that maybe I'll end up having an issue with where the barrel goes in. I could end up cracking the ring on the bottom for where the spring goes. I thought, let's not go into the brute force attempt here. Let's stay with the laser. Let's stay with the precision and drag this out and make this the same and match it up. This is crazy. So we've got this hairline crack that goes up over the top, over the sides. It's got a chip based on the corner. I mean, it's deep. Like you'll see in the pictures here, it is a deep cut. So the idea here is that over time, there was an issue with the barrel, whatever have you, however the design went, and it basically started cracking out through the side here. Now, maybe that was something that happened when the bullet went through. Obviously, this is a thought pattern behind when we're doing this design. You have to think about these things. If you're after a certain end game and a vision, you have to vision how it may have actually happened. So that's how you would get there. So definitely cool. I'm liking that overall. Guys, we ended up going with a lot of physical damage to the slide itself. I had a lot of in-depth conversations with the customer, and it was one of those deals of like, to what level do you want me to stop? Where are we going with this? And in the beginning of the video, when we first started this, and as it evolved, it changed. We had different ideas. We were going to do some work here, which we did. We had other things like we were going to do a hole in the frame, which we didn't do. So we're going to get to some of these things that as we got so deep into this project, because it was such an advanced idea, we had to actually be careful what we're doing here, okay? And that's one of the things that I really want to push onto the people that watch my channel. I have a lot of experience in working with firearms. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this since 2012, and as far as physical items in hand and actually work performed, I've probably done more than most people that are out there. I've had different projects like this, whether they're on the CNC or laser, or it's just something off the beaten path. I happen to have seen a lot of things over the course of the several years I've been doing this. So I've kind of been living in this world, maybe a little heavier and a little deeper than most people have ever dreamed. People go to a job from 8 to 5 and they do their work. I live this, okay? I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll draw something up because it hit me. So people don't do that when they're an employee to a business. People do that when they're a business owner. There's a difference. So we're taking into consideration things that we would not normally even be offering to our customers. So when they reach out to me and they say, hey, I want you to damage the back of my slide, I want you to carefully do some actual physical damage. That's exactly what we're going to do without actually damaging the slide. I know what you're gonna see in the video, and I haven't shown it to you guys for a reason. I wanted to give you a big disclaimer on this. Please don't do what I do. Don't attempt it. Do not put yourself and other people into a position that could potentially hurt somebody, whether it's yourself or them or somebody standing around them. Don't do it. It's not worth it, okay? When you get to the point in time in which you have a lot of experience in doing what you're doing and you know what the outcome's gonna be, go for it. But do not watch one of my videos and say, I can do that. That is absolutely amazing. I love that. Sure, it's amazing, but get the experience under your belt before you take on something like this, especially if you're gonna be doing it for somebody else, okay? It's one thing to hurt yourself, but it's another thing to hurt somebody else, okay? Nobody wants to get hurt in any way, shape, or form all the way around the circle, but the idea is that you're actually doing something for somebody else, you're getting paid or compensated for a certain amount of work, and then you could potentially be hurting someone. So take that in consideration. That's a big no-no. Don't do that. Use your brain. You're a smart individual. Just don't do that. With that being said, guys, at the end of this video, there is the damage video. Okay, so what that means is I show you how I beat this. I actually take you through it very carefully, and I actually show you the work as it's being performed. We do see a little bit of it. You guys had seen a little bit of it coming into there, but you have not seen to this layer of damage on how it was done. You've got to be careful. You've got, the rails on the inside that slide onto the frame, okay? On this side, you have where your extractor goes. You've got things that you have to worry about, like here. This is thin through here, okay? You don't want to cause any issues up in here where the barrel locks up. You don't want to have any issues on the front where your spring goes. There is a lot of opportunity for failure here. Trust me when I tell you that. Take my word on that. Learn from other people's mistakes and take heed of what I'm telling you, okay? So, guys, hopefully you'll enjoy that content. It's at the very end of this video. It's a little bit of extra. I thought it was something that you guys would like to see. You can see that we have some detailed work on the edges here. We've got some detailed work on the sides. We've got some beat marks all the way around this. I left this side pretty plain over here. We definitely did the wear on the coloring, but at the end of the day, I wanted to leave it to where not the whole thing was like abused. I wanted to make it look like it was legitimately used, right? That's the idea of this build. Guys, let's move on to the frame now. All right, guys, let's take a couple minutes and discuss the framework. Now, one of the first things you're gonna notice is this is still in the same 80% condition. We have not completed it. We have not taken any additional steps to do the holes, do the internal parts or anything like that. I wanna make that real clear to you guys as viewers to understand that we cannot complete this. We did discuss that at the beginning of the video, but I wanted to make sure that you are well aware as this project has unfolded that we have not taken any of those steps and or moved into a direction that we should not be heading down. So one of the other things you're going to notice, we do not have a bullet hole through the center of our handle. Now, at the beginning of the video, we discussed we're going to do some laser work. We're going to show you guys some stuff that you haven't seen before. As this project unfolded, it came out being one of those deals where I just didn't know what kind of longevity we would get out of the frame if we ended up cutting a hole all the way through the center of it. So in the future, if I do a build, I'll probably end up doing that, something that you guys can see, you can get a better visual. But since this is my customer's gun, it just comes out being one of those things that I don't want the liability of having a frame that cannot withstand the test of time through the usage of years and years that they're going to be, performing on the weapon. So I don't want to go down the path of putting my customer into a bad position. I tend to stay away from bad choices if they just don't seem to be very logical. So we skipped the hole. We ended up going heavier on the cut work. So as you guys had seen in the video, spent a lot of time on the cut work. We ended up cutting our, what would be our count here down in the bottom section. Very cool. We ended up doing a 5 here and then a 2 over there. So that's definitely neat, nice and deep overall. Really liking that. And one of the things you're going to notice in my video, as I'm doing it earlier in this video, I should say, is that you see me putting my hand over a lot. And the reason behind that is because I'm trying to get exact placement of where the high wear items, or areas I should say, would be. So those high wear items would be where my fingers are going to grip around. I'm right-handed, so you're going to find that the 2 fingers here are going to be doing a lot of the damage. You're also going to find that my right-hand thumb is going to spend a lot of time coming up through here, especially if we're talking about the mentality of this being a used piece in the event that we didn't have additional tools with us, so maybe we didn't have the ability to service it, we didn't have the ability to swap it out. This happened to be our main firearm. So we end up seeing a lot of wear in those zones that would be occurred over the course of time. So Same thing on this side. We end up having some wear here where the hand comes across. We have some wear here with the finger. We've got some more wear here down to the bottom section. Lots of wear where the hand would go in the event that we're not ready to fire, but we are in the position. So we have a lot of wear through there. And overall, I'm very pleased with the way it came out. I think it fits the slide very well. They match each other very well. They are not the same color. So let's talk about the coloring exactly and how this all kind of ended up and how we did this, just for you guys that know. First and foremost, I don't offer a lot of different color options with me. Most of the time it's a solid color, a single color. It's not, you know, Battleworn multicolor patterns. It's basically just a single solid coat is what I usually offer. But this one happened to be, once again, outside of the norm and off that beaten path. So I figured let's go ahead and do from beginning to end, so that way when it gets back into my customers' hands, they're ready to go. So one of the things that we did was we ended up taking the frame, which was the Polymer 80 FDE frame, and I ended up coloring it black. So the entire thing was blacked inside and out. There's still a lot of areas that you can see that are black down inside of here. It's definitely hard for you guys to see it because of the lighting, but you can see some black in here. And I ended up doing the same thing with the slide. So I ended up coating everything black first, and then we cooked it. I ended up taking my time when I end up cooking. I mean, I know a lot of you guys will run this stuff real fast. You're pretty quick, you know, you have this formulas down. I just happen to put it in there and kind of walk away, let it cook for 3 hours at a low temp, and really make sure that it's a matured Cerakote finish on the end. So once we ended up getting black on black, we ended up putting our coats on top. So we ended up going with the OD green on the frame, I'm sorry, on the slide, and we ended up going with Glock FDE on the frame. So OD green and Glock FDE, those are kind of our overall colors that we went with. And there going forward, what we ended up doing is we ended up doing the hardware sand over them. So we ended up peeling a lot of the outside color off. We had that black come through. And in several cases, we actually had the metal come all the way back to the front. And one of the things that we do, just so you guys know, we end up running a clear over the entire thing. So basically what that does is, even if we end up getting a lot of bare metal back to the surface, we don't have to worry about it rusting because we clear over it. So we're not going to get any kind of oxygen based anything on the metal at all. So we're not going to actually start to see any rust because we've cleared it. So we've kind of gave it the extra layer of protection. And this happens to be the matte armor clear, which is extremely durable. I put some of this to the test, and it is a very, very durable finish overall. If you happen to spray it a little bit heavier, then you'll end up getting something that's a little bit more shiny. That's exactly kind of what we have here. You guys can see some of this. And that's okay, because over time, this is gonna wear. So you're gonna actually start seeing that this clear, armor clear on the outside is gonna actually start turning more of a matte over time. It's not gonna stay shiny overall for the duration of the slide. So we're gonna start to see that fade over time. Hopefully we'll get some pictures on our Instagram. I'm always recommending you guys to go over to our Instagram, go over to our Facebook, just kind of follow along and everything and just see what's kind of going on, because we happen to have a lot of cool stuff. So as we look at some of these pictures, I'm going to put this together and we're going to talk a little bit about what's kind of going on. All right, guys, well, hopefully you enjoyed this build video. It was definitely something new to me. I've never had the opportunity to do a build that was quite this advanced with this kind of detailed work on this level. This was definitely something new. Hopefully you guys just have really seen the attention to detail that was taken while building this particular pattern. I definitely think that we're gonna end up seeing another one of these, probably a house gun. I'll probably build one for myself. It was a very fun project to do overall. But guys, one of the things I want to tell you is that people don't reach out to NCEngravers. They don't contact me because we're the fastest. They don't contact me because we're the cheapest. That's not why they contact me. They contact me because the layer and attention to detail of the project is second to none. I hold your hand through this project. I let you know we should do this, we should not do this. This is my opinion. We still go with what you want to have done, but I'm going to help assist you with making those difficult choices because I have more experience than anyone else doing this kind of work out there. So if you want to have something done, if you have a unique project, if there's something that you have not seen before, maybe it's something that you want to blend two projects together or from two different vendors together, reach out to me. Give me the opportunity to earn your business and to build your dream gun. But keep in mind, guys, we are not a cookie cutter shop. What that means is we don't take patterns from one of our other competitors and give them out to you at a lower and reduced price. Lots of companies do that. Lots of people out there sell the same thing as their competitors at a cheaper price to undercut them to build a business. That's not what we do. That's not me. That's just not how I run it. What I do offer is second to none detail on your project. Okay? That is what is offered one-on-one project building overall. That's another thing that we offer, okay? So it ends up being one of those things where people reach out to us because they know what they're gonna get back when they get it back. There is no gamble, there is no guess. We happen to be working on a couple of big projects that are heading down the pipe here. You guys will get to see them soon. And a couple of them are a fix-it one, okay? So we've got some fix-it stuff that came in that was damaged by another shop. It's pretty common. It's way more common than what you guys probably believe it to be, because a lot of these big companies have a lot of damage control. Okay, so they end up having a lot of people. They spend money to put their name out on YouTube because there's so many people that are bought on YouTube. It's absolutely crazy. The first thing that comes out of their mouth is, well, we had a barrel that came from someone, or we got a slide from someone, and this is what we built. Well, what does that tell you guys? That tells you immediately that they're backing that company. That could be a turd of a project, and they're going to tell you that it's paved in gold because they got it for free. That's nothing that you want to have business with, period. You do not want to take the word of advice from the person that's been purchased, okay? This is like going to a dealership and buying a vehicle and having them tell you that this particular vehicle is the best on the market today because you're looking at it right now because I want your money. See where I'm getting at here? The idea here is that you need to go forward and work with people that are not biased. They're not leaning in one direction. They need to be unbiased people. They need to give you a real opinion. There's a lot of good people out on YouTube you can still find doing that, but there's more people that are not doing that, guys. There happens to be a lot of people that are out there that are telling you about, buy this machine, buy this optic, buy this gun, buy this bullet, you know, because you'll get all this other cool stuff. And because if I support you, I get my cool stuff. That's how that works, guys. So what ends up happening is we end up seeing a lot of damaged slides that come through the shop here. I don't tell you the names of those companies. I definitely do not want these companies coming after me. But what I can tell you is that there happens to be a lot more damage out on the market and non-quality work for what you're paying for, okay? We offer quality work. We offer attention to detail. We offer one-on-one project discussions to get your project turned out how you vision it. There's a difference. So guys, reach out to us. If you happen to not know who we are, if this happens to be the first time that you've ever seen a video, subscribe. You'll get email alerts that pop up. Go back and watch some of our old content. We happen to have a lot of older, cooler content that can really help you decide on what you want to have done. We can mix and match. We can blend stuff. We can do stuff that no one's ever done before. We can do a project that you dreamed up and that no one's ever seen before. So there's a lot of opportunity here to build something that fits your needs, your market, your style. So definitely reach out to me if you have any questions about that. There's contact information on our webpage. There's also information in the video description and at the end of all of our videos on the bottom left-hand corner. You're gonna find our email address and you're also gonna find our webpage. Now, let's get down to the details of the good stuff. The good stuff is that there's another large section of content here I'm going to be displaying to you guys. I was really hesitant on if I wanted to show you how the work was performed, if I actually wanted to let you guys see it because it is physical damage being done to the slide. But then again, that is kind of what this project was all about, right? This happened to actually be damage done to a slide in order to precisionally achieve a specific image in the end, right? We precisely created damage in order to achieve our end result. There's a difference than, you know, throwing a slide out your truck, going down the highway and going back and retrieving it. There's definitely a difference in the way in which it's being performed. So guys, hopefully you enjoy this content. I would really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, because I was really hesitant on actually showing you this end content. So do me a favor. I did you guys a solid on showing you the video. Do me a solid and give me a thumbs up. Share the videos. Let other people know that there are some really great opportunities to have some really cool builds done by people that aren't necessarily as big as some of these big named companies. But guys, you can always find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and we're going to be doing some local gun shows here pretty soon, so you'll be able to hit me up locally if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Feel free to leave those in the comment section below and let me know what's going on. Guys, have a good one.